Pew did some research on the middle class in various industrialized countries, and let's just say the U.S. isn't doing very well. Middle-class fortunes in Western Europe from 1991 to 2010, the middle class expands in France, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, but, as in the United States, shrinks in Germany, Italy, and Spain. Middle class, by the way, in this is defined as adults living in households with disposable incomes ranging from 2/3 to double the national median disposable household income. So, look, you might have some disagreements with their definition of middle class. I do, but I'm just saying that's their criteria. That's what they're using to say this person's middle class or this person is not. I want to read it to you one more time. Middle-class adults live in households with disposable incomes ranging from 2/3 to double the national median disposable household income. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look. The shares of adults living in middle-income households fell in many countries in Western Europe, and then it says percentage of adults living in middle-income households in 1991 and 2010. So you have, it is falling. Look, you see it there. You know, it's going from, it's hard to tell exactly which is which here, but I think that's Finland, 82% to 75%. Germany went from 79% to 72% living in the middle class. Denmark looks like it went from 80 to 80, no? So that's staying the same. You can see it there. I don't need to go through all of it. It's a little hard to tell because the lines are crossing each other, but more or less you have slight drops in Norway, Denmark, Luxembourg, Finland, and Germany in terms of the percentage that's middle class. Italy went from 69% to 67% in the middle class. Spain, 69% to 64%. And the U.S., look at that, already lower by far in 1991, 62% to 59%. So we have fewer people in the middle class than in Spain, Italy, Germany, Finland, Luxembourg, Denmark, Norway. And we have fewer than in the UK, Ireland, France, and the Netherlands. And by the way, their middle class numbers have gone up from 91 to 2010. By the way, the fact that any decrease from 91 to 2010 is abysmal, and that's a direct side effect of neoliberalism. But, okay, look at that. 60% to 69% in Ireland went to the middle class, 61% to 67% in the UK, 72% to 74% in France, 76% to 79% in the Netherlands. Look, man, I think the biggest difference probably between all the other countries and us here, well, I mean, though a lot of the other countries are social democracies, so you're going to have more people in the middle class when certain things are off the table, like education and healthcare. People don't have to worry about those bills because it comes directly out of their taxes in many of those places. So that's one reason why more people would be considered middle class. They also have stronger unions. But the other places aren't as corrupted by money and politics either. I mean, we have just a corporatocracy and oligarchy through and through. Various studies have pointed that out. So what this tells me, what this study tells me is that the U.S. isn't number one at all. In fact, we seem to be at the bottom when it comes to the American dream. The American dream, the idea of social mobility, starting at a lower class, working your way up in the next generation. So starting lower class, hey, I made it into the middle class. That's the American dream. We went from 62% of people in the middle class to 59% of people in the middle class. And by the way, I still disagree with their definition of middle class. But others, you know, they're 60-some-odd percent, 70-some-odd percent, 80-some-odd percent in the middle class in the actual social democracies. Whereas we are more right-wing on the spectrum, and look at that, fewer people in the middle class. What's crazy is we know the answers. We just don't, our government is bought, and they don't want to do it, because they don't give a fuck about us. We would have more people in the middle class if we had free healthcare, if we had free college, if we had a living wage, if we had stronger unions, if we stopped doing all this war overseas for no goddamn reason. Those are the answers. You want a thriving middle class? That's what you do, but they don't do it. Because they're bought. They're bought by various special interests. Corporations, lobbyists, billionaires, military-industrial complex. So, and by the way, Canada isn't included on this, but Canada there was a story we covered maybe a year or two ago that said that Canada beats America now in the American dream. Their social mobility numbers, economic mobility numbers, are higher than ours. So you're more likely to start from a lower position and get into a higher position, a higher class, higher on the economic ladder in Canada than you are in the U.S. That's sad, and it's really, really depressing. And we got to fight back, and we got to change it, because this is unsustainable. And I feel like a lot of people don't even know. They're still coasting off, like it's the fucking 1950s. And that, we're number one manufacturing hub of the world and like strongest middle class, except not. It's one of the weakest middle classes. According to this, the weakest middle class in all the industrialized world. So there's something to think about.